So what is the next one? So contains text is done. Alone text function we have done. Now there is a attributes also. You can see here. You can identify an elements with attributes using contains function. So we already seen that. So you can put a star or you can put a tag name also. So double forward slash tag name square bracket contains of at the rate attribute. Basically this is the generic formula. You don't need to remember all this, right? So double forward slash tag name contains bracket at the rate attribute name comma. If you use contains, don't put equal comma single quote partial attribute value provided. Then close this.
Sir, could you please talk little louder, sir? It's too low for me.
Is it? Is
Yeah,
it?
this is perfect, sir. Perfect, sir.
Okay, okay. So I was talking about double forward slash tag name square bracket contains. Contains is a function. Function means name followed by parenthesis, right? The functions are followed by parenthesis. So parenthesis at the rate attribute name comma single quote partial or complete attribute value. So that's the same I replicated here. See? So instead of tag name, I'm putting a star. If you don't want to give tag name, put a star. So it will take care automatically. Contains bracket at the rate attribute at the rate name at the rate id class value title any attribute. That's why this generic formula you need to remember. So let me show you that one of them. See here role button href. I don't know why they have given a tag. Yeah, so you can take this data if and test id, right? I can take a partial one. So I'm not taking complete data if and test id, but I'm taking partially. So how to write XPath? So see that. So a tag is there, still a tag is there. Even you can use starts with also with at the rate data hyphen test id comma single quote data hyphen test id. So partially I'm identifying. See that I have given the value partial. I'm not giving complete value, but still it is recognizing that. So that is the thing. And so that's even starts with instead of starts with you can use contains also. See contains also you can use contains of attribute. So any attribute that it doesn't matter. So even you can use href also. So I can use href value. So let me remove the href data if untested href I will use. But you have to give href value. What is the href value? I will take a login is there. I'll use the login. Href login, but it has three elements with href. So you have to be very careful with that. Okay. So and I will use and one more I'll try to use um, role button I'll use at the rate role equal to single quote button. See now it is identifying single. Okay, so like this you can write multiple attributes you can join with and also. So that is the how to identify the web elements. And So I covered both contains and starts with, and next we have negative or not. We don't have any example, but before we used to have, but it's not working that website. Yeah, last function and position function. So last function means the last element will be identified. So you have a list of elements, right? You have a list of elements. So in the list of elements, the last element you want to identify. We cannot give the count, right? Otherwise, you have to give index number of that element. I cannot give the in count. So if there are many, you cannot count them. Instead of that, you want to identify last element, and this last function will help you. First, identify the element, then just call the last function. So automatically, last element will be identified from this. Then position means it's similar to index. You can give a position function double forward slash tag name square bracket at the rate attribute name equal to single quote attribute value, position function equal to 1 2 3 4. So that's the position function. And there is one more normalize space. So normalize space instead of contains, this normalized space will no ignore the starting and ending part spaces. If spaces are there, those will be ignored. So automatically that will be taken care. So let me show you that one. I think we have in first let's see this list of elements here, right? We have a list. I'll first identify this element. The first element I'll identify. So I can use this contains, or I can write from here. So I can write from here also. Let's use this div onwards. Double forward slash div at the rate id equal to id value. So slash ul slash li a. See how many it is showing? 1 of 29. There are 29 with this XPath. But I want to identify the last element. So this li after just write last function. See 1 of 1, it will identify the last element. See, it is identifying the last element. So if you want to identify the last but one, just do -1. Just do -1. Okay. If you want to last but one, -2. And if you want to last -3, so like this you can keep identifying before also. So in the same way, position, you can give position. For example, position equal to 3 if I give, instead of last, just give position. So third element you are identifying. If you give fourth, fifth element will identify. Fifth position basically. Li 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth element. So it will identify fifth element. So video. So this is how you can identify the web elements with the last function, position function, and so normalize space. Let me show you normalize hyphen space. So do we have this space? There is no space here, right? and here we have a spaces. See the products which has a space. How do you know such space? Can you see here space is there? So these spaces we don't know how many spaces are there. How you can identify them? So here simply you can write so normalize hyphen space double forward slash a normalize hyphen space equal to products. So normalize is yes. Mm, normalize hyphen space equal to products. Space correct only, right? So Z. Okay. So that's a Z. That's always confusing. Hmm. I'm putting a star. It's not identifying.
Will there be an at symbol, sir?
Hmm.
At symbol?
No,
Yeah.
at symbol not required.
Okay.
So that's a function. At symbol is not required. So normalize hyphen space. The function is correct only. So like this, if you have a spaces and head and tail portion, if you write, you can directly give the text. You don't need to write a spaces. That spaces will be taken care by that one. See, this is the correct only. So let me replace this. I don't know why it is not recognizing.
Because there are double quotes. No,
Where is the double quotes?
no. Sorry. I saw the
No
cursor.
double quotes. Hmm. This is interesting. Okay. Let's go to linkedin.com. There you can linkedin.com. Oh, it will log in automatically. Mhm. So let's see. Messaging. Mm, Okay. But this also not identifying, right? Double forward slash star square bracket normalize hyphen space. Hmm. So
ZE, right? So
hmm?
ZE.
ZD. Yeah, it is identifying now in this website. So normalize hyphen space. Okay. So that's how you can use normalize hyphen space concept. So there is a access XPaths. So access XPaths basically, if you have a tables, right? If you have a tables, so you have a table, you want to identify the tables, table data, and this is the one will help you a lot. So this table data, if you want to identify, you can go for the this access XPaths. So following basically, if you are identifying any element after the base node element, then use following. So you have a parent element here and child element here in the same row. So this element you will identify, based on this you are going to identify another element. That is the following concept. Preceding means you can see the first your base element you will identify, then slash following is as we call this and your target element tag. So that means based on this base element you are identifying the child element. So that is the following. That means so this element is followed by this tag. That is the thing. Okay. So preceding means if you are identifying any element before the base node, then use preceding. So your base element before you want to identify any element, then use preceding. So identify the base element first, which element, based on which element you are to identify other element. First identify the base element. So that you write XPath for the base element. Then so you can identify the that before element here and ancestor. If you are identifying any element above the base node, then use ancestor, the parent. So you are identifying a child. Based on the child, you identify that parent. Then use ancestor. So descendant means if you are identifying any element below the base node element, then use descendant. So descendant is as tag name. So these are the very important concepts. Uh, so I have given a lot of examples here. So just follow them and it will help you. But let's see how you can identify this following preceding will help us. See now, based on this JSON, I want to identify email of his and due amount, and I want to click on edit or delete. So how can you identify that? So let's identify this. Or JSON last name I want to get it. How can you identify that? So this is all identification. The latter action you will perform. First identification is the crucial. If you give a incorrect identification, Selenium will not identify that. Selenium will not identify that and test case will fail. Your test case will fail. So that's why you have to give exact one. So let's see how to identify this one by one element. Suppose I want a email of JSON or a due amount of JSON. How can you identify? So first identify the base element using XPath. See, first I'm writing double forward slash, the tag name is td tag, square bracket, the text function equal to the text value. First see, it is identifying. From that you can identify, see that there is again two are there, but I don't want two, right? I want to identify this table only. Then you can start from table ID, table tag. You can start from table tag. So table square bracket at the rate, what is table is having ID equal to table 1 forward slash table, after you have a T body. So you have a T body. So the T head is there. You can ignore that. So for that you can put a double forward slash. So T body after you can ignore other things also. So the TRs are there, but I am ignoring with a double forward slash. Just directly I am giving TD text to this one. Now based on this I want to identify email. So this JSON after these are all there. After means what I told you, your base element after anything if you want to identify, you have to use which concept, which access XPath you have to use?
Following.
Following concept. Following is as which element you want to identify, that element tag name you provide. So this is the element. So that element tag is TD. So just give TD. So now see, exactly it is identifying that one, but it's identifying many TDs, but yeah, we want only one first TD, right? So TD1 and it will identify. Okay, so that is the this how to identify the elements. So for example, I want to identify this A tag. So you just change here A of 1 instead of TD. If you give TD2, due amount you will get. If you give TD3, so website you will get. But JSON values, because otherwise it's the same. All are same. And here you see edit and delete is common. Same text. How can you identify JSON edit and delete? So that's why this first you have to identify the base. A tag, A of 1 if you give edit, A of 2 if you give. How do you know, sir, this is the A tag? You go and see that A tag is there here. In the HTML, always in the HTML you have to see that. So HTML, you have to see that. So then you will come to know. Okay. So that's how you can identify. So next, preceding. See now JSON before you want. So immediately what you need to use? Preceding. Preceding is as, what is the tag name for this? Before this TD. So this TD, right? So TD tag. You just give TD tag. TD of 1. First TD. So this is how you can identify that preceding concept. So base element before you are identifying, use preceding concept. So that's the following preceding, and let me show you some ancestor. Let's try the ancestor. So ancestor is basically the parent of this one. So ancestor, this is not example. This parent is so ancestor. No, this is not the example for ancestor, but yeah. So I'll show you that ancestor example sometime while automation time. Okay. So I'll show you that. So that's with that all the XPath concepts are done. But mostly you will use this following and preceding only. So ancestor you will use rarely. I'll show you that when the scenario comes. I'll show you that. Now, sir, this is all very complex. Is there another approach to get these XPaths? Yes. So there is an approach. So you can get the XPaths and CSS selectors in the browser itself. See SAS demo. Let's take this and so right click on this. So you identify which element you want to identify that. Right click on that, copy. So there is a copy XPath. See, it will identify. So it's going to give a XPath for you. Even CSS selector also it will give. Right click, copy, copy selector. So hash ID value, right? So that's it. So this is the one way to get the XPath with a browser itself. There are some plugins, so you also install along with me. Okay. So the first plugin is a very useful plugin, Selectors Hub. Everybody should install this. Selectors Hub, which Selectors Hub for Chrome. So go to Selectors Hub Chrome Web Store and install it from there. See, I have already installed. You will get here add to Chrome option. So install it. Then how to use this? So simply once you get that, you can see here on uh, the bottom when you open this developer tool. This is called developer tools, right? And here you will get here selectors hub. So click on that selectors hub. So you will get everything: CSS, XPath, index XPath. So everything you will get here. And you see it
What
is
do they
identifying easy one. So you just copy paste in your IntelliJ IDEA. That's it. That's a simple. You can write your own construct, your own XPath and CSS selectors here. That is also possible. This is the very useful one. But practice time, don't stick to these tools. If you use this in the interview, they will give one website and they will ask to write the XPaths. So once you are perfect with all the formulas that I have explained, then you can use it to speed up your automation code. That time you can use. Once you are familiar with XPath how to write, then use the tools. Without knowing how to write, then don't use these tools. These tools are once you settled in the job, then you can use them. So before job, you should not try it out. Or once you're familiar with XPath, then you can use it. Not an issue. Yeah, Anju.
So it could be a silly question. My screen looks a little bit different than when I click on the selectors hub.
Hmm.
Then it looks a little bit different from yours. Is that okay?
So what you are getting? You share your screen.
Yeah, sure. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah.
It's loading now. Yeah,
So,
same, right?
like these things I don't see in your.
Same, right? You are also having same.
Okay.
There is no difference.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
it's
Yeah, thank
same.
you.
Okay. But I suggest first practice our formulas.
Okay.
Then, while writing automation, you can use this tool or browser thing. Without knowing what is XPath, how to write XPath, don't addict to tools. First, know the concepts. If you are familiar with the concepts, then you can go for the tools. Why you should not use? Interviewer doesn't allow to use the tools. Interview purpose I am saying. In the interview, if you are not able to write the XPath, whatever they have given for their own websites, and they won't take you. That's why familiar with all the concepts. Okay, so that's all with all the object identification. Tomorrow morning we are going to start the Selenium WebDriver concepts. Once again, theoretical part, architecture, and all the things I will cover, and then so let's see how it goes.
So your voice is not audible, sir.
Yeah, so tomorrow we'll cover the Selenium WebDriver architecture, Selenium 3 architecture, Selenium 4 architecture, and latest versions of Selenium. So all this will see that. We'll write a small program, okay, and then you will understand. So that's why finish this. Don't waste time, Indian guys. Finish this. All the object identification. So and come back so that it will be easy for you to understand.